Stop looking for the obvious. If you are waiting for a woman to grab your arm, blush, and boldly tell you she likes you, you are going to be waiting for the rest of your life. Welcome back. If we haven't spoken before, consider me your older brother. I'm here to give you the grounded, no-nonsense truth about female psychology that most men spend decades and a lot of lonely nights trying to figure out. Today, we are talking about a blind spot that affects 97% of men over the age of 40. Here is the uncomfortable reality. Older men miss the exact moment a woman begins to hit on them almost every single time. It isn't because you're out of touch, and it certainly isn't because women aren't interested in you. It is because you are looking for the wrong language. When you were 20, flirting was loud. It was obvious. But mature women do not flirt like teenagers. A woman who is established, intelligent, and socially aware is not going to throw herself at you. She operates on a psychological principle called plausible deniability. She wants to test the waters to see if you're interested, but she wants to do it in a way that allows her to retreat with her pride intact if you reject her. So how does she do it? She asks questions. She will drop a soft, casual question that sounds completely innocent on the surface. But beneath that question is a quiet, locked door. If you don't recognize it, you will give a logical, boring answer, and the door will quietly shut. You will walk away thinking you just had a nice chat about the weather, and she'll walk away thinking, I guess he's just not interested. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 subtle questions women ask when they want you. I'll decode what she's actually asking, and I will show you how to answer like a grounded, highly attractive man. Let's begin. Number 1, how come a guy like you is still single? This is one of the most common ways a woman will test the waters. On the surface, it sounds like a straightforward compliment. She's acknowledging that you're a catch. But psychologically, it's an intense screening question. She isn't just asking about your relationship status. She's asking, are you emotionally available, or are you carrying a mountain of unresolved baggage? This is where the majority of men completely sabotage themselves. When a woman asks this, a lot of guys take it as an invitation to unpack their entire romantic history. They talk about their ex-wife, they complain about how modern dating is a nightmare, or they get defensive and say something cynical like, marriage, tried it once, never again. The moment you say that, the spark dies. You didn't just answer the question, you showed her your bitterness. You showed her that your past is still heavier than your present. A mature, high-value man does not carry bitterness. When she asks why you're single, you need to answer with calm, warm certainty. Keep it light, but keep the door open. You simply smile, look her in the eyes, and say, I've just been taking my time. I'm waiting for a connection that actually matters. Or, life kept me busy, but I finally have space for something real. When you answer like that, you're not just telling her you're available, you're telling her you have standards, you are at peace with your past, and you're open to the future. That is profoundly attractive. Number 2, how old are you, really? If a woman asks you this, especially if there's an age gap between you, she is not asking for a number. She doesn't need to see your birth certificate. She already knows you've lived some life. What she's actually doing is testing your frame. She wants to see if you are insecure about your age. When she asks for your age, she's looking closely at your body language. Do you flinch? Do you look down? Do you make a self-deprecating joke about being a dinosaur? Do you desperately try to convince her that you still feel 25? When you apologize for your age, you instantly lose her respect. Women are not repelled by age. They're repelled by insecurity. They're repelled by a man who is uncomfortable in his own skin. When she asks for your age, she's looking for presence. She wants a man who carries his years like a badge of honor, not a heavy burden. The men who stand out do not try to act like young boys. They own their timeline. The next time a woman playfully asks how old you are, look at her with a slow, confident grin and say, old enough to know exactly what I want and young enough to still go after it. Or simply, are you asking for my age or my attitude? You must understand that if she's standing there asking about your age, she's already interested. Do not talk her out of it by proving you're insecure. Stay with me because question number 3 is the one that completely flies over most men, and it's the exact moment you usually put yourself in the friend zone. Number 3, what kind of women do you usually go for? This question sounds like casual conversation. Maybe you're having a coffee or you're standing at a social event, and she smoothly slips this into the dialogue. Listen to me. A woman who views you strictly as a platonic friend rarely asks this question. When she asks what your type is, she's holding up a mirror. She's weighing herself against your answer. She's checking to see if she fits into the picture you carry in your mind. Here's the massive mistake men make. They take the question literally. They start listing physical traits like they're reading an order to a rater. They say, well, I like blondes, someone who's really fit, maybe someone who likes golfing. When you list physical traits, 2 things happen. First, you sound shallow. And second, if she doesn't perfectly match that physical description, you've just slammed the door in her face. She isn't asking for a police sketch of your dream girl. She's asking, do I have a chance here? A man who understands female psychology knows that attraction is built on energy, not resumes. When she asks what you go for, you describe qualities that matter, and specifically, you describe qualities that she obviously possesses. If she's a calm, intelligent woman, you look at her and say, I go for women who are thoughtful, women who don't take themselves too seriously, and who have a calming energy to be around. Notice what happens when you do that. You describe her. You let her know without a shadow of a doubt that she fits the mold. You validate her subtly without aggressively pursuing her. You give her the green light to keep flirting. Are you always this much trouble? Or are you always this charming? This usually comes with a laugh, a slight tilt of the head, and maybe a gentle touch on the arm. It sounds like a pure compliment, but it carries immense weight. She is doing 2 things here. First, she is acknowledging that there is a spark. Second, she is testing your ability to hold the tension. Most men are terrified of sexual tension. When a woman gives you a compliment like this, they panic. They deflect it with awkward humor. They say, oh, just having a good day, or only on Tuesdays. And just like that, the tension evaporates. The moment is dead. You took a beautifully charged interaction and turned it into a sterile joke. A grounded man does not deflect warmth. He receives it, and he gently tosses it back. When a woman asks if you are always this charming, you stay perfectly still, maintain eye contact, and say, only around women who bring it out of me. Or, I usually save it for moments that matter. Do you feel the difference in that response? Your tone says, I see what is happening here, I am comfortable with it, and I'm not afraid of you. That response makes her feel incredibly safe, while simultaneously sending a shiver of attraction down her spine. Now, pay very close attention to this final question, because by the time she asks this, something fundamental has shifted inside her. She is no longer just curious, she is vulnerable. Would you ever date someone like me? Or do you ever date younger women? This is the ultimate test. It is the closest thing to a direct confession a mature woman will ever give you. She has dropped the plausible deniability. She has stepped out onto the ledge. She is placing herself directly in front of you. And even if she says it with a playful smile, make no mistake, her heart is beating faster. She is risking rejection. You would be shocked at how many men freeze in this exact moment, because society has conditioned older men to believe they shouldn't pursue women, especially younger women. They instantly go into defense mode. They say, oh, I'm probably too old for you, or they chuckle and change the subject to avoid making things awkward. When you do that, you leave her hanging. You make her feel foolish for putting herself out there, and she will immediately retreat to protect her ego, likely never crossing that line with you again. When a woman hands you the keys, take them. You do not need a clever pickup line here. You need absolute, unshakable honesty. When a woman looks at you and asks if you would ever date someone like her, you hold her gaze, let a second of silence pass, and say, I'd consider myself incredibly lucky to. If she asks if you date younger women, you say, I don't date based on birth years. I date based on connection, and I really like our connection. The core mindset. Let's bring this all together because memorizing lines is useless if you do not have the mindset to back it up. Why do so many older men miss these signals? It's because they've convinced themselves they're invisible. Society tells men that after a certain age, they fade into the background. You start to believe that women only want the 25-year-old guy with the six-pack and the sports car. Let me tell you something about female psychology. A woman in her 30s, 40s, or 50s is exhausted by boys. She is tired of men who don't know who they are. She is tired of the frantic, insecure, chaotic energy of youth. She wants a mountain. She wants a man who is completely grounded, who doesn't need to prove himself, who is comfortable in the silence, and who knows how to hold a conversation without getting easily rattled. Your age is not a weakness. It is the resume of your survival. It is the proof that you are built to last. When you start viewing yourself as a high-value, grounded man, you will stop assuming that every woman is just being polite. You will start to see these subtle questions for what they truly are: invitations. You do not need to try harder. You do not need to act younger. You just need to be fully present, open your eyes, and notice when a woman is quietly asking you to step into her life. The door is opening. The only question is, are you going to step through it? Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever missed a signal from a woman only to realize days or weeks later that she was actually hitting on you? Drop your story in the comments below. I read them all and I want to connect with you. In the next video, we're going to dive into the exact psychological triggers that make a woman feel deeply, intensely safe with you. Because once you step through that door, you need to know how to build a connection that lasts. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and keep building your kingdom. I'll see you in the next one.